Congratulations! I'm Amina Lutfi. I'm a professional organizer and I am passionate about wedding planning. Would you believe, you won't believe, all 3 of my children were married the same year. Not only that, I helped to organize all of those weddings, one of which was a destination wedding in Costa Rica. As a professional organizer, I learned a great deal about wedding planning. I'm going to share all of the details with you, the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the goods and the bads. I'm going to share every morsel with you. Stay tuned to the end because you could win a beautiful wedding journal that I personally designed. Today we're going to talk about, our segment is your wedding flower guide. Your wedding flower guide. Now, in talking about your wedding flower guide, you may choose to purchase have all your flowers purchased, have them already prearranged, but you may decide that you want to actually do your own flowers to save maybe a cost-cutting measure. Maybe you're very creative. Maybe you just say, you know what, I just feel like this is something I want to do. And also it depends on the size of your wedding. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to give you some tips and strategies on what to think about when you're thinking about planning your wedding, of course, and your flower guide. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So your first decision should be, do you want to use a professional florist, or do you want to, like I said before, create your own arrangements? Now, when you think about a professional florist, there is quite a bit of cost involved. Flowers can be very expensive, especially if you're selecting flowers that are out of season, flowers that aren't native to a particular area. Flowers can be on a pretty big budget, a big ticket item, I should say, within your budget. So you want to think about that. And again, it depends on the size of your wedding. Now, if you're having a smaller wedding, you may not have a need for that many flowers. But if you're having a larger wedding, you're going to need flowers, lots of flowers, okay? And we're going to talk in a little bit about who in your wedding party actually should receive flowers as well. So that's an additional cost when you're thinking about your purchasing flowers or utilizing flowers in your wedding. So again, if you're the creative type, you may want to check with a wholesale flower shop. And then I think what I'd like for you to do, or what I'd like to suggest you do, is think about the time and energy and effort that you would put into creating your own flowers versus hiring a professional. Now, if you determine that it's going to be way too much trouble, even if you're the creative type, to make your own flower arrangements, then you may say, you know what, I just have to set aside X number of dollars for my flower budget and actually have the have a florist arrange your flowers. But if you're the creative type and you want to put that energy and effort into it, I say go for it. Go for it. But what I want to suggest you do, if you are the creative type, practice before, of course, the day before your wedding is to take place. Practice way in advance so you know what works, what doesn't work. You can also look at how long the flowers will last and what type of wiring you might use or whatever else you might use to in order to support the flowers. So those are the things I want to suggest if you're the creative type. So what will you need for the wedding in terms of flowers? If you're getting married in a church, you're going to need flowers for the church. What else in the church? Altar, wedding flower arrangement, pew markers for floral decoration. Now, you can pick and choose. You don't have to. I'm just going to go over the list, and you can pick and choose, but I want you to just have a pretty good idea of where flowers could possibly be used or given to, what individuals would actually be given flowers on your wedding day. All right. So don't forget about flowers for the reception, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So if you're having a reception, which you probably are, then you're going to need flowers for your reception as well. So what about flowers for the bridal table? Going to need a beautiful arrangement for the bridal table. That's after the ceremony. You're sitting with the groom, and your bridal party, you want to have a beautiful arrangement at that table. And what about the buffet table? If you have a buffet table, you're going to need a floral arrangement for the buffet table. What about individual tables for all of your guests? So it's kind of nonstop in terms of floral arrangements. So you want to think about again whether you want to actually make your own flowers or whether you want to hire someone to actually, a professional, to take care of all of that for you. So let's go down the list and see exactly who should receive a floral arrangement of some type. So as a bride, you're going to have a bridal bouquet, and you're going to select the flowers that resonate with you, the colors, all of that. What when you look at these flowers, what does it do for you in terms of what you want to feel on that particular day with this particular arrangement? So you're going to carefully, of course, select a bouquet that really works really well for you. You want a small bouquet, possibly to toss. There's a ritual or tradition. The bride tosses the bouquet, and whoever catches it, single individuals are the ones would be next or whatever. It's a fun thing to do. The groom is to get a boutonniere. The maid or matron of honor, they receive flowers as well. They're holding flowers as they're walking, in the ceremony. And the bridesmaids, aside from receiving a bouquet, the matron of honor, or your special person who's, like your very, very best friend that you've been knowing since the second grade, they generally get a bouquet that is a little bit distinctive from the other bridesmaids. You don't have to, but that's the thought. The best man receives a boutonniere as well. The flower girls, are you going to have flower girls? Or, you're going to have a little child, a little male child to accompany the flower girl. The flower girl is going to have flowers as well. The mother of the bride, she'll have flowers, a corsage rather. The groom's mother is going to have a corsage as well. The father of the bride, he's going to have a boutonniere as well. The groom's father is going to have a boutonniere. If you have step-parents that you're really close with, you may want to give them a boutonniere, the father a boutonniere, and the mother, you may want to give her a corsage. Grandparents, so you see it's kind of endless. The grandparents, it would be a very nice touch to give the grandparents, the grandfather, a boutonniere, and the grandmother a corsage. That would be a very, very thoughtful, and I'm sure they would be overjoyed at the idea of having a beautiful corsage or boutonniere. So just a few extra wedding flower tips. As I mentioned earlier, the matron of honor or the maid of honor should get, it's suggested, her flower arrangement slightly different than the other maid of honor, just to distinguish the relationship that you have with her. Might be a different color, a few different flowers or whatever. The best man, again, he gets a different, maybe a little different type of boutonniere than the rest of the groomsmen. The corsage for the actual parents versus the step-parents may be distinctive in some way, and you can make a determination as to how you want to make that distinction. And the arrangement for the flowers, to save a cost-cutting measure, if your reception, when you have your reception, you take the flowers from the wedding and bring them to the reception. Even if it's a distance away, even if the reception is not in the same locale, that's saving money in terms of your purchase of flowers, of floral arrangements for the wedding. And the bouquets that the bridesmaids use during the wedding can actually be used on the bridal table. So those are some tips that you can take. Hopefully there are some tips that you find useful in designing and establishing your floral arrangements for your wedding. So those are just a few tips. And of course, remember, your flowers the type of flowers you select depends on your personal taste, on the color theme that you have for your wedding. And Again, if you want to use a professional, decide to use a professional, or if you want to be creative. You can keep things really simple, or you can be as elaborate as you like on your very special day. I'm wishing you endless love. I'm hoping this video was helpful. If so, like and subscribe. Check out the elegant jewelry and accessories for your wedding at my website, bridesjewelryshop.com. If you have any questions or any suggestions or any comments, I'd love to hear from you. For your chance to win one of my beautifully and personally designed wedding journals, simply comment below with your wedding date. I'm wishing you endless love. Bye-bye for now.